Ladies and gentlemen, we have some really sick, twisted, demented people in this world. Some really disgusting, vile, sick, twisted, demented people in this world. I want to talk about this case out of Richmond, Virginia, involving a nurse accused of doing the unthinkable to newborn babies inside of a NICU. And I'm going to go into the report in a second, but imagine your baby, your newborn, is so sick that he or she has to go into the NICU. And in a lot of hospitals, they don't even allow parents to sleep in the NICU with the child. Like you can come every day and visit and you have to go. But you leave your baby, your precious newborn, in the care of nurses who you think love children, will look out for children. And instead you find out that one woman has been hurting your child. So I want you to take a listen to this affiliate Fox Station News. It's the Isaiah Factor. And we're going to get into this conversation because this really pissed me off.
In Virginia, a nurse sits behind bars after, in some instances, newborn black babies were found with serious injuries, broken bones. Enrico Doctors Hospital says staff found 3 babies with, quote, unexplainable fractures. 26-year-old Aaron Strotman is charged with malicious wounding and felony child abuse. My next guest is Dr. Danish Ali from Archpoint Pain Institute. He says these allegations are true. If true, she should have not been allowed to work after she was suspended the first time and they brought her back.
First of all, your thoughts on this case and just how horrible it is that a nurse, someone in your profession, would harm a child like that, a newborn.
Yeah, Isaiah, very disturbing news indeed. Our first, the oath that we take is do no harm, right? And so when I hear of stories like this is a truly disrupting and really sad, shocking news that I hear from somebody who we would help, or we would hope is helping the child, somebody who's in the NICU where they're sick, they've got other things going on. The last thing you want to worry about is your nurse, somebody who you trust, doing harm to a child. And so I am very saddened to hear this news, and I hope that this person is not able to practice medicine if this is truly, in fact, this person was causing harm to innocent children and babies.
Now, we know she was accused initially by the hospital internally when they said she may have harmed 3 other children, but then a year passed by, she was suspended, a year passed by, and they brought her back. Was that a mistake?
It was, Isaiah. I mean, as long as you have somebody who has potentially caused harm, this should have raised some flags for the hospital. They should have taken more initiatives and perhaps not brought this person back. She was on administrative leave for 1 year. She was paid supposedly around for all this time as well that she was gone. And then the hospital did its job of checking to see if there was something. I just don't think they did enough. I don't think they did enough investigation. I know that hospitals have ethical boards and committees. Sometimes, when these sorts of bigger allegations happen, it's the hospital's responsibility to make sure that they either have a third party, somebody else that's reviewing this to make sure that everything is checked off and there was no malicious harm that was involved in this.
Let me stop right here and say something. I got to say something. My first instinct is to think, when the hospital suspended this woman, put her on administrative leave, whatever, and paid her while she was on leave for a whole year, that's 12 months. If you didn't see any of these incidents happening in the hospital while she was gone, shouldn't that have alerted you to something? And then it started happening again when she came back? Don't they have cameras in the hospital as well? You go to McDonald's, the cashiers have cameras above them to make sure they ain't stealing out of the registers. You go to the Home Goods and the Home Sense, same thing at the register, they got these things. You go into police stations, they have cameras. You go into a fire department, fire stations, they have cameras. You go into hotels, they have cameras. But you don't have cameras on the most precious people new to the world, newborns inside of your hospital to say someone's watching the cameras to make sure everything is okay? What if a little fire broke out inside of the NICU? Something happened? I'm sure you had cameras. Why was she even brought back? Why was she placed on administrative leave with these things happening if it pointed to her for her to be suspended? And I'm just going to go and say it. I think it is because these were black babies. If the roles were reversed and you had 3, 4, 5 white babies who were being injured and a black, or let me just say a non-white nurse were there doing this, I think you would have seen a completely different treatment. I honestly believe that. There's no way 4 or 5 newborns, white newborns, would have been injured in this way and that wouldn't have been held to pay. And I'm going to get into the father of twins because he there was a gentleman, I forget his name, I'm going to find it, but he went on record as well talking about what happened, detailing what happened in his case. But this is beyond sick. And her being gone, they should have definitely said something is off with this girl. She looks pretty young on top of it. She looks like a little kid to me in the face. But something is off with this woman. And imagine if your child were released from the NICU, taken home by you, and then you realize that bones were broken or something was wrong, and you as the parent now go to the hospital. The hospital could have been questioning, what did you do to the child while you had the child in your care at home? The parents could have gotten in trouble. And I hope this gets the attention, and I see like a lot of people are covering it, so that's great, but to stay on this. Because if she did, in fact, target black babies, and I'm going to read a report as well where they said that's not true. But if it's only black babies that have been injured, to me, that's a targeting of black children. And then she should be charged with a hate crime.
From your research, what exactly did she do to some of the children?
From what I could see and from some of the x-rays of these children that were obtained, what I saw was she was not handling them in the right way and maybe being too rough with them, or maybe pulling on a leg or something that causes either a dislocation or a fracture or something. So, again, we don't have any strong evidence, and these are all accusations and allegations that we have so far, but I think it's the hospitals and even the now federal government's job to really research this and make sure that this person does not practice and does not harm anybody else if this was truly, in fact, the case.
And I want to make it clear what prosecutors are saying. You're saying that she may have handled them roughly. They said she maliciously, meaning she intended to wound, harm a child with felony child abuse and neglect in connection with an incident that took place in November 2024. And of course, now there are possibly 7 other children. So the prosecutors there in Virginia are not saying she handled them rough. They're saying she maliciously, with intent, tried to harm these children. And parents are just upset. And some of those parents said the hospital system failed them. Would you agree with that?
I would, Isaiah. I think that unless we have other third parties and other people that have investigated this telling us, yes, this person is safe and there was no malicious harm that was involved in this on purpose, if they cannot prove that, then this person should not have been allowed back into the hospital setting.
So, I know he was being careful there because, yes, these are allegations, absolutely. But the fact to me that she had been suspended once before and then brought back into the fold, and then this happened again, yes, still allegations, but strongly pointing towards her. And I'm so happy that Isaiah pushed back and said this wasn't a case of just, they may have been she may have been mishandling the baby. The malicious intent, that line is very serious here. Let me see if I can find the father, because I watched it on the news. Where did I get that? Hold on one second. Let me see if I could get that real quick. Okay, here we go. This is from 12 on Your Side. He was calm, and he's a father of twins. We have twins in my family. My sister has twin girls, one of whom was had to stay behind in the NICU. And I could tell you how many times the doctors were like, listen, just kind of brace for the worst because she might not make it. Thank God she did. But they're so tiny, so frail, so fragile, and your heart just bleeds for these babies. And then to think that they're already fighting for their lives on their own, and then someone is just making the situation worse, a person who should be caring for them. So this just made me so sick.
Firsthand from one of the parents who says his baby was abused at the NICU at Henrico Doctors Hospital. This comes as the hospital remains under investigation and is no longer admitting new infants. That means other area hospitals are preparing for a possible surge in premature babies. Sarah Shackles explains.
I went to visit the Hackey family in Chesterfield, who are thankfully enjoying life now with 2 healthy twin baby boys. But they say their nightmare experience at Henrico Doctors Hospital NICU won't be over until their son's abuser is brought to justice. 16-month-old twin boys, Noah and Micah Hackey, are healthy, happy, and loving life. The twins were born just shy of 29 weeks, spending more than 80 days in the NICU at Henrico Doctors Hospital.
And to know that 1 week old my child was abused, that sentence alone keeps me up at night.
Dominique Hackey says he and his wife Tori visited the boys daily in the NICU.
There one day and he's fine, there the next day and he's not.
The parents learning that Noah, the healthier of the twins at 3 pounds, suddenly had a fractured tibia. Hackey says it took the hospital 2 weeks to report the injury to Child Protective Services, who later sent this letter confirming that little Noah had been physically abused by a hospital staff member.
A letter, phone calls from the police department, Child Protective Services, social services, the Commonwealth attorney. Everybody has told us that our child was abused. It was not accidental. There was no birthing accident that happened. He doesn't have any bone disease, and I want to make that perfectly clear. He was abused, and somebody needs to be held accountable.
Hackey says the hospital promised extra training at the time and that they would install cameras in the NICU.
No cameras. And we were there total 87 days, and 87th day, no cameras.
The Henrico Commonwealth's attorney says all 7 cases of NICU babies with mysterious injuries at Henrico Doctors between summer 2023 and this year are now being investigated together.
So many babies that one person harmed that nobody grew suspicious of, that nobody saw is astonishing to me.
See, for me, you see me have a baby and God forbid my child has to go to the NICU. I don't care what they say. And this was before I even saw this report. Y'all have to have a little bed there somewhere for me. And I don't care if every parent up in there says they need the same thing, because I'm going to have to keep an eye on my child. Ain't no way. And I can only imagine like just to see the baby with all those, you see all those tubes and stuff like that running through their little bodies. Like that did something to me. And did you see the fracture? I'll put it on the screen again. Oh my gosh. Definitely, I smell a serious lawsuit coming for that hospital if it hasn't begun already. And as you heard just there from the father of the twins, the hospital, he confirmed it didn't even have cameras. And I just don't understand that. Anything could have happened in the NICU. Someone could have come in there and tried to kidnap a kid. A fire could have broken out. Somebody could have been abusing a child. And you have no evidence whatsoever of what is going on. Let me see if I can. By the way, I don't know if it was mentioned, but the lady's name who is accused of harming these children, her name is Erin Elizabeth Ann Strotman of Chesterfield County. And she's been charged with 1 count of felony child neglect, which carries up to 10 years in prison. Neglect doesn't seem like the right word. Neglect is the child was coughing and you walked off somewhere and you just ignored it. You neglected to care for the child. To me, what you did or allegedly did is intentional and malicious. Oh, okay, here we go. As well as 1 count of felony malicious wounding. I should have just continued reading. As well as 1 count of felony malicious wounding for an injury sustained by an infant. Okay, which carries a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison, according to Henrico Commonwealth attorney Shannon Taylor, who you saw just now. She's prosecuting the case. Let me see what this public defender, Scott Cardani, has to say. He's representing Strotman. This is to ABC News. He said she's not yet entered a plea, and he declined to comment on the charges. Now I'm trying to get to the part where they were talking about it's not just black babies or something like that. Where did I see that? So here we go. This is from ABC News. I'm reading here online. It says, as this case gained national attention, the Henrico Police Department dispelled rumors that the alleged victims were targeted based on their racial identity, telling ABC News in a statement on Tuesday those allegations are, quote, not factual based on the preliminary investigation. Well, if I only see a bunch of, and I'm sure this hospital isn't just exclusively servicing an African-American community, a Black community. If I'm seeing other babies of different races inside of that hospital and that NICU, and only Black babies are the ones being hurt, I am going to deduce that you're targeting Black children. Henrico Chief of Police Eric English said that police recognize that this case has generated feelings and emotions, but asked the public for patience as our detectives work to investigate every piece of evidence in connection to these cases. And they say that they've reviewed dozens of videos from inside the NICU. Where the videos come from? They are reviewing dozens of videos from inside the NICU. Look, y'all have video or not? The father says that they didn't have any video. And I'm sure he's been following this along. Now they say that they are reviewing dozens of videos from inside the NICU. So you had cameras? Which is it? And good, the hospital is not admitting new patients at this time. You don't need to. As a matter of fact, I would be so scared. And this is sad because let me tell you the reality. Nurses hate stuff like this. I have nurses in my family, a lot of nurses in my family, a lot, who are like so caring and nurturing, and like they cry when their patients pass away. They cry when their patients are in a lot of pain and they can't do anything. Like, they love their job. They love their patients. And when you have nurses like this gal doing what she did, allegedly, you know, it shines a bad light on the profession and on really good, solid nurses. You can imagine working for this hospital and you a good nurse and you just mention that you work there and people go, oh, you work with the girl who was harming those babies. Oh, how all y'all nurses are. You just don't know how people think. Anyway, drop your comments down below. This is one of those videos I just had to talk about because, like I said, I think about how sad and how helpless the parents must have felt. And I think about if that child had come home to their parents and then the parents noticed something was off with their bones or their foot or something like that, and they took them to the doctor. You know, Child Protective Services or somebody might have come in and say, oh, what's going on here? We noticed your newborn has this issue and, oh, I didn't do it. Parents can be held liable for a lot of stuff. And it's difficult to get out of these things sometimes. So anyway, drop your comments down below. If you like the video, please give it a big thumbs up. It really helps with the algorithm. Share this video with your family members and friends. Weigh in down below if you want to weigh in on this or you have some other information that you'd like to share. Particularly if you are a parent whose child was at this hospital and you want to reach out to me, please email me at the email on the screen, bemyguest at ThisBahamianGyal.com. And if you'd like to come on the show, use the same email, of course, to reach out to me because I really love to hear your stories. Also, if you want to contribute to this channel and keep us independent, please go into the description box. You will see the various ways to give. You can also use the QR codes that are going to be on the screen, and it'd be so welcome and such a great way to help the channel progress. I love you guys so much. Please excuse me. I said in the last video that I'm getting over a really bad cold, so I know I sound stuffy and snotty and all that bad stuff, but just prayers up for those babies and their family members. I really hope that they will heal and be okay, better than okay. And I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.